Oh my goodness, what a week this has been. I have to tell you. I think last week I introduced you to um, little Miss Lotto. Lotto is a beagle, a mini beagle, who came here. This is quite a story. We have Biker in the background there, and we have Prince over there. That's what fulfillment looks like. And how many of you have heard me talk about, or maybe not, but there's something called a fulfillment formula: work, rest, play. And I would love to dig into that topic deeper in some future shows. This week we're going to talk about surviving the multi-dog household. But I tell you what, I've been here this week surviving a multi-dog household because these are two of the three here are school dogs, and I have three more dogs in the house. So it's been busy. But this beagle puppy has been like five dogs. So it's finally so people that how many of you double tap on the screen if you just actually say yes in the comments if you crate train your dog or you believe in crate training your dog? Yes or no? Yes if you do, no if you don't. I'd be interested to see how many of you acknowledge or support or do crate training. I'm not saying yes or no, not yet. You haven't heard the story yet. So just type in yes or no in the comments. And oh hey, welcome from England. Oh yeah, good. That's yeah. You haven't lost your sound, and it wasn't that far away. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Yeah. Okay, Annalise trying took her first video. Oh, thank you, Rudy's own. Thank you for that. Thank you for that feedback. Rudy says, I have a 60-pound golden doodle. I took your advice on the leash training. Yeah, we did some talking on that last week. Took her to her first big event and she did great. I brought treats. Good. And I had people, yay, yay, good job. That was the one jumping in excited. And I said, have her sit. Yes. Love it. Good, good, good. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that. I love those stories. Yes, I love it. Okay, great. Yes, we're seeing yes from Sanal. Yes from Sarah. Yep. Yes, we crate train. Yep, for sure. Good. Yep, both English Bulldog. Good. No, he was older when I Jasper. Yeah, sometimes it's harder when you've got older dogs. If they haven't been crate trained, man, it's a struggle. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's some tips if you ever want to do that. There are tips and tricks you can do to get them to love it. 70. Bo, you're in Colorado. Good. Bo, the English Bulldog. 72. I call you Bo. I know that's not your name, but that's your dog's name. And we all go by dog's name here. And 72, man, you know what's about probably 40 here, just Fahrenheit. So I want to talk to you. I'm just going to tell you a little story before we get into this week's download for free if you want to, if you're interested, is how to survive a multi-dog household. So just type checklist in the comments. It'll come right to you. But I want to talk to you a lot more about this little gal here. Isn't she cute? Lotto. So Lotto, I have owners fill out when they come in, when they bring the dogs in for training, and I usually like to have them for a minimum of 3 weeks. And I made, especially puppies, and I made an exception here. She's only here for 2 weeks. And the only thing they wanted was to be able to leave the house and have her be calm in her crate. So good on them. They said they crate trained her. And the more I believe them because they're good clients. They've had a dog with me before. So then I got into it as I went through. I mean, she was okay at night, but man, she couldn't be in the crate in the daytime. Whoo! Holy smokes! Like literally flooded my floor with drool. She would come out of the crate and her feet would be soaked right up to her knees from standing in her own drool. Her ears would be soaked. Poor little thing. So remember, this is day 12. So this is from day like 1 to 4. She would be almost like she was semi-conscious, like not falling down, but in a daze. Like she was just in shock. I guess it's more like shock. She was in shock. So I started asking some questions, and they put her in a crate at night. She's fine, but the crate's upstairs, so they don't put her in the crate during the day. And here's what I found when I dug deeper in asking questions. I finally asked a direct question: how frequently during the day is she in the crate? Remember, the fulfillment formula for puppies especially, but for all dogs, is a balance of work, which means walking, doing things at the door, like waiting at the door, just even a job like carrying something. Rest, which means undisturbed rest, not just flake down on the floor so that they can jump up and follow you. And then play, and preferably engagement play with you, not where they're running around in the dog park. So I asked her the question, how does she rest during the day? And the response was shocking, but not really. Well, we tried it once and it didn't work. So she's 5 months old. She spends 0 time in the crate during the day. They both work from home. and they have 3 kids. So the time that the dog spends alone, 0. And boy, did it show. So they were becoming, this is how it happens, folks. This is how you become a prisoner to your dog. They were becoming prisoners because when the kids came home from school, their job was to keep her busy by playing with her. Play. And the parents' job was just, they put her in the car to go for a ride. She just was with them all the time. And what the lady's number one request was, we just want 2 things. We want to be able to leave her in the crate and have her be comfortable, and we want her to learn to play independently. So how do you do that when the dog's 5 months old and she's never been left in a crate? And this is why I can sympathize with Jasper from the UK, because if you've got an adult dog and it's never been in a crate, it's very difficult. This poor little thing, and when she came, I had 2 appointments I couldn't get out of, and I'm a one-person show here, no staff. So in the crate she went. I mean, after we did our thing, kind of the end of the day, I do have a Nest Cam so I could see what was going on. And here, first day, she howled for 3 consecutive hours. 3 hours straight. And there's nobody here to help her. Now I could see, and yet there was no self-harm. There was nothing. She was just howling and drooling. So fast forward, then it was 2 hours, and then it was back up to 3 hours, and I'm watching, and then I couldn't take her anywhere because I couldn't leave her in a crate and have her howl like that. I'd be friggin' arrested. So now fast forward, we went to 1 week, the end of week 1. I put her in a crate at night, and as long as I was visible, she was okay. So then I practiced going out, coming back in, going out, coming back in. No emotion, no attention, no, it's okay, or no, stop that, or nothing. Just she got nothing from us. And yet there's dogs walking around and me, and pretty soon she stopped fussing in the crate at night and went right to sleep. She'll sleep till 9 o'clock in the morning. It's a bonus. I love it. And then in the daytime, just put her in the crate, and the salivation was starting even before she got in there. So I still put her in, dropped the thing, let her go. Now her crate she came in, I don't know if I can show it to you or not, very, very tiny, very small. And I know that the theory is, you can just see it over there, that little wee thing with the leashes on top, very small. So you can see the theory is, put them in a small crate so they don't have room to panic. Well, in this case, I was worried of her in that crate because she had nowhere to move. She was kind of in there. So I put her in, this one you're going to see behind me with the guillotine door. See the guillotine door? And yeah, I can't get too far over there, but it's 42 inches deep by 30 inches high by 30 inches wide. And I put her in there, and I took everything out. Took out all the bedding, everything. But it does have a carotid cot in it. And when I came home, after listening to her for 45 minutes, she howled steady till I had to go to an appointment. And I came and I got back in the car after an hour. So there's an hour 45. She's quiet. I came home. She's quiet. I open up the door. She's pushed to the back of the crate, and the front of it's soaked, but she's calm. So it took 1 week of perseverance on my part, perseverance on her part. So when you have a puppy, especially, that all of a sudden doesn't like the crate, it's a matter of who can be more persistent. And I had all the tools to make sure she was safe, and I was more persistent. So now we can play games, because now she never really had a problem going in. She had a problem staying in, but they never put her in there to learn that it's okay. So I put her in the crate when I have to run to the house, and I come back out and I let her out. I put her in the crate when I walk the other dogs. I come back in and I let her out. So it's just those little short things where all of a sudden she's realizing, no big deal. Hey, this is okay. And every time I put her in, she gets food. Now she has all of her food has been fed by hand, nothing in a bowl. That was the thing. They bought her, one of those special slow feeder bowls because she snarfs her food. Well, she needs to have something to do. So we're at day 12, and this is like a first, because she usually is looking for things to get into, because she's been programmed by the family to stay busy. She never learned how to play independently because she was never allowed to, because the kids were always there. And as soon as I asked, because she's very nippy when she first came, the question I asked, when she's asleep on the floor, is that when the kids touch her? And the mom said, oh yeah, because that's the only time she's quiet. So they want to pick her up then. So the poor thing, couldn't trust even going to sleep and being left alone, which is why a crate is so important, but yet they wouldn't put her in the crate. She's now ready for them to take over the crate thing, but they have to recognize, you're going to hear, if you follow me, be sure to follow me if you don't already, because this week you are going to see some posts of her and you're going to hear her in her crate when we shut the door. It's gut-wrenching. I mean, you think someone's got her strung up on a rope and she's gasping for air, but she's just out of her mind. Anyway, that was that. So let's, I'm just telling you, when you have a puppy, they don't like the crate when they go in because they don't like to be confined. This poor little gal had never had any boundaries, even sitting on the dog. And you've talked to me sitting on the leash to self-settle. It was brutal for her. I bring her in the house. Yes, she's allowed on the furniture only if she behaves. And it took her a while even to do that. She just was on, off, on, off. And so we finally said, you either on or you're off. And just setting rules, boundaries, and limitations and being consistent. You can be consistently wrong. But if you're consistent and the dog's okay with it, it's fine. Everyone's standard might be different, but just be consistent. All right, I want to back up to some questions here. In fact, I picked her up today and she throws a little hissy fit. And I've got a video coming out on that. She's like, I was perfect because I was just talking about the squeeze play that I do to get them to stop squirming and then put them down as soon as they go limp. And just as I was about to release her, she started to go kamikaze on me. And she says, and I went, this is perfect. So I hugged her tight. She went, oh, and then I put her down. But I got a couple of nips there in the meantime. That's okay. All right. I hope that so I found that little entertainment. So today we're going to talk about surviving a multi-dog household. But I do want to come back and talk to Bo the English Bulldog because that's serious stuff that's going on there. We have a really nice follow-up from Rudy's own with his 60-pound golden doodle. Took her to her first big event and she's all excited and she's a jumpy, over exuberant, friendly thing. And people think that's normal behavior. It's not. And he took our advice, which was my advice, which was stand on the leash really close to her collar, put a slip collar on her, give her no freedom. Did that even with this little puppy, and her jumping is significantly subsided. And Rudy's own golden doodle had her first success. I'm so excited about that. And she brought treats and then she actually allowed people to pet her, no jumping. That's very exciting. So let's go down to Bo the English Bulldog, which isn't so exciting because this is concerning to me, very concerning. Bo is, I think you said he's 1.5 years old. And so I have Vina here, my assistant, pushing these comments in case I missed them because sometimes I do. So this is important. Please pay attention here. Bo, and so I got my first bite yesterday from Bo. We were in the empty dog park. Bo got his leash tangled in his back leg. Oh, and remember, he doesn't like to have his back feet touched. I went to get it and he snapped. Didn't break skin or bleed, but a bruise. Okay, let's unpack that. A couple of things. One of the reasons that I don't leave a leash on very often is because of that. They're short enough that they just get in the way. What I will do instead is I'll take you've seen me show these before, but just, I'll take with me, I make these actually, a little 15-foot long line with a light clip on the end, and no handle on the other end. And they're just that, nylon cotton blend. And I can fold it all off and stick it in my pocket or even tie it around my waist or stick it in my treat pouch, whatever. So that when I get to a place, I don't go to dog parks, but when I get to a place like my front field, I have a big field in the front, and I want them to go. She's especially, I don't want her running loose because she can squeeze through the fence. And that's not what I want. And I'll switch it up and put the long line on. And the reason I do that is the long line will drag out behind them. Then if he gets tangled, you can step on the end of it and just wait. And I can guarantee you he will figure out how to get out of it. He's going to maybe throw a hissy fit and go crazy, but then he'll stop because it's not going to serve him and he'll get out of it. What I suspect happened with Bo is he was tangled in his back leg. It might, now depending on how long that it happened, it might have upset you more than it upset him. So then if he was even in a panic and you moved in there, that's a threat and it's not personal to you. So this is not escalating behavior. This is a dog in panic mode that's doing what he thinks he needs to do to survive because he thinks he's threatened. And he didn't break skin. Of course he'd give you a bruise because they've got powerful jaws, those guys. So my advice, I would really consider getting yourself a 15-foot, really lightweight long line and go to the dog park, put that on and make sure there's no handle on it to get caught. Because oftentimes it's the handle that gets caught in their feet. And then I want you to walk around the dog park with him and practice stepping on that line. And he's going to get jolted. And as soon as he looks at you, you call him in, you give him a treat, and then you let him go. You're teaching him to check in, but you're also setting some boundaries, and you're getting him used to having those boundaries checked for him. I'd love you to do that this week and come back and next week and let us know what's going on.